BFM 부산영어방송.
Hello everyone, I'm James from India. Ever since I was a young boy in India, I have been surrounded by different Korean products, and this instilled a dream in me to explore Korea one day. This chance came for me in 2014 when I began attending Busan National University as a graduate student in computer engineering. I have lived in Korea for over 7 years, and I even run my own business now, a company that is developing a platform based on artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. From my experience, I can say with an absolutely certainty that Busan was the best place for me to start my business, thanks to the specialized blockchain zone. In the past 7 years, Busan has become my second home, and I obviously love it here. Global City Busan, we are in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BFM 부산영어방송.
Hello, I'm Casey, and I'm the new host for 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's reboot your day when you're feeling sluggish after lunch. We'll keep you up to date with all kinds of useful information, from what's happening in and around Busan to amazing and exciting stories happening everywhere. Let's have a good time together every afternoon from Monday to Friday. Stay tuned for 2 p.m. Reboot with me, Casey, starting next Monday at 2:05 p.m. Catch you then.
나 정상훈, 밀고 당기는 밀당의 고수지만 버스 등받이는 당겨 앉는 반전 매력. 운동하며 흘린 땀을 사랑하지만 헬스기구에 묻은 땀은 꼭 닦아주는 반전 매력. 연기할 땐 거침없이 선을 넘지만 주차할 땐 절대 선을 넘지 않는 반전 매력. 이런 게 바로 지킬 건 꼭 지키는 반전 매너. 나부터 더 매너 있게, 서로에게 더 매력 있게. 공공장소 매너 함께 지켜주실 거죠? 공익광고협의회.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BFM News at 2. I'm David Kim. The South Korean government's dividend income from public company stakes surged over 70% this year, reaching 2.13 trillion won for the 2023 fiscal year. This increase from 1.24 trillion won the previous year is attributed to higher earnings by major state-run banks and corporate value-up programs. The Korea Development Bank paid the highest dividends at 878.1 billion won, followed by the Industrial Bank of Korea and the Export-Import Bank of Korea. The growth was also driven by incentives for companies to prioritize shareholder returns. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan issued a joint statement pledging increased mutual investment and calling on North Korea to abandon its nuclear weapons. The statement followed the UAE leader's state visit to Seoul, during which a comprehensive economic partnership agreement was signed. The UAE reaffirmed its commitment to invest $30 billion in South Korea. Both leaders emphasized the cooperation in nuclear energy, including projects for nuclear power plants and small modular reactors, and urged North Korea to engage in dialogue and dismantle its nuclear arsenal in a verifiable manner. In local news, the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport announced that the inauguration ceremony for the Gadok New Airport Construction Corporation will be held tomorrow. The ceremony will be attended by Minister Park Sang-woo, Busan Mayor Park Kyung-jun, Ulsan Mayor Kim Do-kyum, the Gyeongnam Governor Park Wan-soo, and several National Assembly members, residents, and airline representatives. The event will affirm their commitment to the goal of opening the airport in 2029. Established on April the 25th, the corporation will commence full-scale construction of the new airport, starting with the selection of a passenger terminal design and the signing of basic and detailed design contracts by the end of next month. Starting from June the 1st, Busan will switch to a reporting system for converting transportation services from medium-sized taxis to model large and premium taxis, increasing the total number of large taxis from 40 to 100 to meet demand. This change comes following the revision of the Passenger Car Transportation Business Act reinforcement rules and was officially announced on the 22nd. To accommodate the increased number of large taxis, the city has been coordinating with taxi operators to secure additional waiting spaces. Busan City has announced the first lineup of 22 teams or bands for the 2024 Busan International Rock Festival, scheduled to take place from October the 4th to the 6th at Samnak Ecological Park. Celebrating its 25th anniversary, this festival, the longest-running rock music event in Korea, will feature a range of global artists. The initial lineup includes the British rock band Kasabian, the British singer-songwriter Anne-Marie, and Korean band Jannabi, marking their 10th anniversary. Kasabian returns to Busan for the first time in 10 years, while Anne-Marie, affectionately called Our Sister by Korean fans, will perform in Busan for the first time. In international news, France has lifted the TikTok ban in New Caledonia initially imposed to curb rioting. The decision follows the end of a state of emergency triggered by indigenous Kanak protests over electoral reforms. Despite ongoing protests and a curfew, the French government ended the emergency on Tuesday local time. TikTok users had circumvented the ban via VPNs. The French government had accused the TikTok of spreading disinformation and suggested interference by Beijing and Azerbaijan. And now taking a quick look at the weather here. It's currently 25 degrees Celsius under partly cloudy skies. Air quality is in the moderate levels. And that'll have to do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is Steve Hatherly Reboot. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
What you're about to hear is amazing. That's because you're locked in to Busan's #1 English radio station. Whether you're at home, at work, or driving in your car, you will be exposed to radio excellence. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because it starts right now.
Some people like their name. Other people, not so much. Some people actually go so far as to change their names. In the West, we are often, but not always, named after our parents or our grandparents. My middle name, for example, is my father's middle name, but we both don't use them, ever. Pretty standard stuff, I think, in Canada. But in the Philippines, let's talk about that. Names can be a lot more fun, and today we'll learn about at least one way that Filipino children may get their name. It's Thursday, May 30th, 2024. I'm Steve Hatherly. This is Steve Hatherly Reboot. Let's go.
How dare you?
That was Alexander Stewart with How Dare You, and originating from Toronto in Canada, Alexander Stewart's musical aptitude was evident from a very early age. The soulful singer and songwriter rose to fame after captivating audiences by posting online videos of cover songs to his channel. A lot of artists got their start that way, right? As of this month, he boasts an impressive 2.6 million subscribers due to his success. That's really impressive, isn't it? His music, characterized by heartfelt lyrics and immense vocal abilities, has collectively garnered over 500 million streams worldwide. Some of his most notable hits include Backwards, Blames on Me. Last October, for example, he graced the stage of The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon to perform for the television masses and, of course, the studio audience there. It's been nothing but success for Canadian singer Alexander Stewart, which is really cool because it's not so easy. Well, maybe it's different now, I guess. In fact, maybe we can find a lot of examples of Canadian singers who have found it big in the United States market or on the global stage. Let's think of some examples. Justin Bieber is an easy example. Drake is an easy example as well. Before that, maybe Avril Lavigne, of course. Celine Dion is from Canada. Bryan Adams, although those are perhaps lesser known names. But I think before, it wasn't as easy for Canadians to make it into the American music market. And I think maybe, I could be wrong, I'm speculating, but I'm guessing it was because of the internet, right? You wouldn't have access to the Canadian singers who were worthy of being recognized on the global stage, I guess. You know, thinking back to when I was in university and the Canadian bands that I liked. The Tragically Hip, oh my goodness. If you ever want to see if there's a Canadian nearby, just turn on the Tragically Hip and you will immediately know if there's a Canadian within listening distance. Yeah, they never really made it into the American market. Not really. They played shows in Canada in front of, 20,000, 30,000 people, which is not that huge, but, maybe by Canadian standards, that's pretty big. But they would go to America and play, in a smaller venue, a much smaller venue to an American crowd who had no idea who they were. But now it's different, and I think it's different because of the internet. Justin Bieber, obviously, success story not only in America but worldwide. Anyway, I digress with a little bit of music talk to get us started today. How you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm live in the studio from Busan on this Thursday afternoon. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas. In Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3 and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. I'm your host, Steve Hatherly, and I hope you're having a great Thursday. May 30th on the calendar today, and we have today and tomorrow remaining to hang out with each other. So let's make sure we have a really good time. Go on over to YouTube and check out our live stream there, youtube.com, and then search BEFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean. You can watch our live stream there until the songs start to play. When they start to play, open up your BEFM app or listen through FM radio as well. Those are your two options to catch the tunes. Looking at the numbers now of subscribers, 12.9. Well done. Just a bit to go until 13,000. What was my goal, PD? I said 15,000 by the end of the week. A couple more thousand in 24 hours. 26 hours, to be fair. Can we do that? Seems ambitious. Let's get as close as we possibly can. Tell all your friends, please, to visit our channel and subscribe when they are there. And thank you. You've obviously been doing a great job in helping out, and I really appreciate that. The station really appreciates that. Let's keep that number growing for sure. All right, so why do you have to open up your music app or the BEFM app or listen through FM radio? It's because of music copyright issues, and we apologize for the inconvenience there. But we do appreciate your patience and your understanding as well. All right, final Thursday of Steve Hatherly Reboot. What's coming up on it today? We'll kick things off with Hot Off the Press, as we always do, where you will hear some trendy music that has been newly released. I'll give you some information about the artists and about the songs as well. Then it's Parenting 101 time. Cheryl will join me in the studio for news about childcare and parenting, and we'll listen to her experiences of raising her daughter as well. It is going to be the final installment of Parenting 101, so I'm sure it's going to be a good one today. Cheryl will stay with me for what remains of the first hour. Then coming up in hour number 2. Yeah, this is what I was talking about in the opening of the show. Now, in Canada, it's very common for your name somehow to be connected to your parents' name or to your grandparents' name, something along the family line. So my name is Stephen Michael Hatherly. So there's no other Stevens in my family line, but my dad's middle name is Michael. So that's what my parents chose to do. They passed that name down to me as a middle name. But it's really interesting. Middle names are kind of a weird thing. Here in Korea, there aren't any middle names. You have your name and then your family name. And that makes total sense to me. The middle name is, I know we've talked about the history of middle names on the show before and why people in the West have them. But for me personally, I don't have any emotional connection to the name Michael other than the fact that it's my dad's middle name. But my dad, he used it in his life, but I've never used Michael. Nobody's ever called me Michael. I've never gone by Mike. That would be sounding like my dad's name. So I don't really have any, I don't know, when I hear it out loud, it doesn't feel like it's mine. Steve feels like my name. Michael somehow doesn't feel like it has any connection to me whatsoever. But that's kind of one of the ways that we receive our names in the West. I didn't know this about Filipino culture, and if we have any listeners who are from the Philippines today, please send a message and comment about this and maybe correct me if I'm wrong at all, because all the information I have is from the story that I found. But Filipino names can be quite fun, and they can be quite interesting. They can be quite expressive and quite quirky. And what I found through this research is one of the ways, it's not the only way, but one of the ways that children receive their names in the Philippines. So we'll talk about that today. A little trip to the Philippines, shall we? Oh my gosh, I haven't been to the Philippines in such a long time. One of my favorite places to visit. Such a beautiful country. The people are so nice in the Philippines. Everybody's just chill and happy and in a good mood. So today we're going to go there and we're going to do a little bit of digging about how people get their names there. After that, Hatherly's Hather List. Sticking with the theme of names and nicknames, we're going to have a look at some famous rock stars and how they got their nicknames. Some rock and roll stars have a nickname, and I'll tell you how they received that nickname today. Short little list today. It'll be our final installment of Hatherly's Hather List. Well done, Silly, by the way, if you're listening. Silly, our listener and our commenter on YouTube, came up with that name. We've been doing this segment, PD, for, 6 months or something like that. And when we started the segment, I was trying to think of a good name for it, and then Silly sent in the message. So you get all the credit for the name on that segment, Silly. Well done. Final installment of that today. Like I said, it's a little bit shorter than typical. Maybe we'll have a look at 3 rock stars and find out where their nicknames came from. After that, perfect playlist where we have the best songs for every situation, and I'll check your messages, of course, throughout the program as well. All right, here's my question today. I want to know, have you ever had a nickname? Ben texted already and said, is Steve a nickname for Steven? Right, because my name is Steven, right? And the spelling is P-H, not V. But Steve is spelled S-T-E-V-E. Is that a nickname for Steven? No, I don't think it's a nickname. It's just a shortened version. But we do that, don't we? In the West, all the time, we do that. Michael becomes Mike. Steven becomes Steve. There's 1,000 examples of that. So I wouldn't call it a nickname per se. But that's what I have been given nicknames in the past, though. Have you ever had one? Tell me about it. Tell me all the details about it. 어떤 별명이 있었나요? Yeah, text me and give me the details on that. Pounder Sharp 9050. That will cost you 100 won. Add us on Kakao Talk for free. Send messages for free by searching BEFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean. Don't forget, today and tomorrow, that's the last time we have to talk with each other through this platform. So please do send lots of messages today and tomorrow. Kakao Talk, yep. Download it for free. Send messages for free. Smartphone, you can download the app from any of the app stores. Please do that if you haven't done it already. Same search, BEFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean. There you can listen to our programs and leave us a comment after logging in. All right, we'll have a break and be back with today's Hot Off the Press. Here is Medusa, One Republic, and Leone, Fire. That was Medusa, One Republic, and Leone with Fire. We're back, and it's time for today's Hot Off the Press, where from Monday to Friday, we bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. And a lot of songs are released every week, and we choose a couple each day that we hope you'll like. We'll start today with the new one from Meghan Trainor and Niecy Nash. This is called I Wanna Thank Me. I Wanna Thank Me features actress and producer Niecy Nash and marks the latest taster of the Grammy Award-winning artist's sixth album, Timeless. It's coming out next week on the 7th of June. This is what Meghan Trainor said about it. I think we often forget to take time to appreciate the hard work that we've done. When I heard Niecy's speech at the Emmys, I was so moved and so inspired, I knew I had to write a song about it. I still can't believe I got to work with the Niecy Nash in my studio and have her amazing wife and daughter sing on the song with me. It was a moment that I'll cherish Vanish Forever. After that, new from Pink Pantheress, this is called Turn It Up. Pink Pantheress has released her first new track of the year. The bedroom pop song follows the story of Maria and the object of her affection, atop a melody inspired by Selena's Dreaming of You, the title track from her 1995 final album. The British singer, songwriter, and producer said, "Super excited to share my first release of 2024, Turn It Up. So proud to pay homage to a beautiful song, and I hope the people love it too." Here we go with our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today. Brand new from Meghan Trainor with Niecy Nash, I Wanna Thank Me, and then Pink Pantheress, Turn It Up.
And you know who I want to thank?
Those were our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today, and spent those two tracks trying to figure out the meaning of an expression that came in a message, which I'll get to in just a sec. Pink Pantheress, Turn It Up, and before that, Megan Trainer and Niecy Nash, I Want to Thank Me. All right, so question of the day today, have you ever had a nickname? We're going to talk in hour number 2 about a story that I came across recently a few days ago on the internet about how Filipino children get their name. In the West, after reading that story, I feel like Western names are so boring, the way that they are given and the way that they sound. Steve is not a creative name at all. Whereas if you've ever traveled to the Philippines, I think you've probably met some people with some really kind of quirky, fun names. That's what this story is about in hour number 2. So that's why I'm asking you, have you ever had a nickname? Hisok texted in and said, this reminds me of my childhood nickname, which sounds weird, but it was Kokchi, because I always had a ponytail in the middle of my hair. So my family would call me Kokchia. So funny. So I asked Napidi, what does that mean? Kokchia, I've never heard of that before. And we kind of talked about it for a few minutes, but I still don't really I still don't really understand. And then Napidi's just put a note in front of me right now. It's the protruding part held with the hands attached at the very end of a tool or a bowl. So like a handle, a kind of handle. Okay, now it makes a little bit more sense to me. So a ponytail looks like a handle, hence Kokchia. Oh, that's kind of cute. That's a good nickname to have, I guess. Isuk, thanks for that message. Let's go over to the other board, see what's happening on YouTube. Steve's listening today. Steve says, hi, Steve. This is the other Steve. I just want to tune in and let you know I really enjoyed your show and your jokes and your funny interactions with Napidi. Also, I really benefit from those daily expressions that you do. Good luck to your next endeavor, and see you soon. Thanks a lot, Steve. Steve says, sometimes my nickname I would get would be Steve-erino or Stevie or Stevie Wonder. Yeah, when your name is Steve, it's not too difficult for people to come up with little variations like that, right? Stevie, yeah, I got Stevie quite a bit, I think, when I was younger. My mom and my sisters never called me that. They stuck with Steven. And I really didn't like that. So maybe that's why I don't like being called Steven in my adult years. That is exclusively used by my sisters and my mom. Silly says, Koreans have a middle name in traditional families oh gosh, this is quite a complicated message. I might save this one, Silly, for hour number 2. Yeah, I think that's better. I need to figure that one out a little bit. Heyun says, I'm sad this is your last week, Steve. Always loved the afternoon pick-me-up energy that you brought to the airwaves and your fun conversations with the listeners. Cheers to you. Thank you, Heyun, and thank you for your participation in the program. You pop in every now and again with a message, an answer to the question of the day, and I always appreciate any feedback or any kind of interaction with the audience. So thank you as well. Nicknames, let me know. Send them in and tell me what was yours. What is yours? Maybe you have one right now. 어떤 별명이 있었나요? Text #sharp 9050. That will cost you 100 won on your cellular phone. Add us on Kakao Talk for free. Send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us a comment after logging in. Thursday afternoon, and it's the final installment.
You know what? We almost made it to a year, because I think I came in June of last year.
Well, then, I mean, it's exactly 1 year.
Yeah.
Did you come at the beginning of June?
I think I did.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Exactly 1 year. Mm-hmm. Exactly how I planned it.
Good planning on your part.
Yeah, right. It's great to see you, Cheryl. How are you feeling? A little emotional today?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I know you're on to other things.
Don't talk about that yet. I haven't talked about that just yet on the show. All right, what's your answer? The question today.
Well, my daughter's got a nickname.
Which is?
Monkey.
Monkey?
Monkey.
You gave her that one?
Yeah, we got a call from her daycare when she was just a little kid that she kept pulling the bins out of the shelves.
Okay.
So that she could climb up the shelves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still call her that now?
I still call her that now. She's almost 13. She's still a monkey.
How does she feel about that?
Well, she goes with it.
Oh, yeah?
She hasn't complained about it
She's
yet.
not to the point where it's like too cool to be called. She's too cool to be called her childhood nickname.
No, but then again, if I call her anything, she's Mom.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get into it. Final installment of Parenting 101. What's our topic today?
So last week you brought up the Jerry Seinfeld interviews.
Yes.
We'll be talking about what he calls the 3 poison peas of parenting.
Yeah, so we should start, I guess, with talking about who Jerry Seinfeld is, right? Because a lot of people might not know. Could you give us kind of a little background about him?
So he's a comedian. I guess he had the peak of his fame was about in the 1990s with a television show that was his name, Seinfeld.
Yeah, right. Stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Television actor.
And he was brilliant because his comedy was about things that he saw. They were observations.
Yeah, observational humor. And it was a type of comedy at the time that wasn't really put on display through a television show. Maybe other comedians were doing that at stand-up comedy clubs, but he made a sitcom about it. So point is, he's really super famous.
He is. And the interesting thing about the characters on his sitcom is that they were not allowed to grow as characters.
Physically?
Emotionally.
Oh.
Yeah.
They were to remain as they were.
As they were.
Kind of like The Simpsons, but with real people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So Jerry Seinfeld, I'm not sure why, but it seems like he's been doing a number of interviews recently. And I saw a clip last week, and I thought, this is kind of interesting, and I wanted to point it out to you because I thought it might fit in quite well with our parenting segment. So, again, what's it all about? You said he's talking about the 3 poison peas of parenting.
And the 3 poison peas of parenting, this is his term. This is not a well-accepted term. This is just something that he's defining.
Yeah, this is not from parenting websites. This is not from child psychologists. This is the opinion of a really famous American celebrity who has children.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. All right, so where do we start with this?
So I think we should start with the clip.
Okay, listen to what he said.
Yeah, let's hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, so he's doing an interview. I forget who he's interviewing with, but the interviewer is asking him about comedy and other things, and then all of a sudden he switches over and he's asking him about his kids and asking him about parenting. And this is what Jerry Seinfeld says.
I'm going to make my kids' childhood perfect. That's when you really screw them up. Because perfect is not a good place to be for optimizing, the human instrument. Imperfect is where you want your kids to be. I always talk about this bracket of struggle. If you want to stay in the bracket, not too much, not too little, and try and move the bracket up as high as you can. The worst thing with kids is when you try and give them pleasure or problem solve or praise. Those are my 3 poison peas of being a parent. Solving their problems, giving them pleasure. Don't give him that cracker. He likes this cracker. This is his favorite cracker. Give him that cracker.
Yeah, and then that was the clip I saw last week, and I thought, oh, we need to talk about this on the show. So the 3 poison peas of parenting: giving your kids pleasure, solving their problems, and then praising them too much.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've touched on some of these things in the past, haven't we?
We absolutely have. We've talked about all 3, and essentially some of them are fine in moderation, but it's when as a parent we rely on pleasure, problem solving, and praise as tools for raising children, they'll ultimately fail.
So one at a time, let's go through these. And let's start with the pleasure problem. Because this might, when he said in that clip, he said, oh, don't give him that cookie. He doesn't like that cookie. Give him his favorite cookie. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting because then you're just bowing down to your child's ultimate desires. So that seems to be problematic if done, like you said, too much.
Yeah.
Moderation is the key for this one?
Yeah, when we shield children from disappointment, because essentially giving in to the pleasure, that's what we're doing. We're shielding them from disappointment. We're doing everything we can to ensure their happiness, and we're doing them a disservice as parents. Children need to feel disappointed. They need to experience not getting everything they want when they want it. It's a part of life. And as a parent, we're raising children to be functional adults. I don't know any adult that gets everything they want when they want it all the time.
That's a fair point for sure. And that's what, again, we're going to come back to his point where he said, stop trying to raise a perfect person.
Exactly. Well, don't try to be a perfect parent.
And also don't try to be a perfect parent because giving your child whatever they want whenever they want it is not doing your job. But that's got to be tough to a parent because, I get it. Like, don't give him that cookie, give him the other one. That's an extreme example. But as a parent, you always want to give, if your child likes apple juice, but they don't like tomato juice, well, you're not going to force them to drink tomato juice, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if there's nothing else, you're not going to run out to the store to get them apple juice.
And that's the point.
Exactly.
So the answer is, hey, look, we don't have apple juice right now. This is going to have to do.
Exactly.
So teaching your children that lesson, this right now will have to do. It's not what you want, but it's what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Good one. All right, moving on then. Praise.
So this is something we talked about quite a bit. I think a few months ago, we talked about not praising children and how it can backfire. Instead, it was recommended to comment on the journey and not praise the result.
Okay, yeah, I do remember we talked about this, and we talked about it at length because it was kind of a confusing one, I think, because you want to say nice things to your children when they do a good job. So what's an example of this?
So by praising children, what parents are doing is encouraging the child to focus on the things that they're being praised for. So according to the New York Times article, praising the outcome of something by saying it's beautiful or praising the person, you're so smart, it encourages the child to focus on those things and could later create anxiety if the child underperforms.
There was a video that I saw, maybe a few years ago on YouTube, and it was a man, and I think the title of the video was, "This is how I start every day." And he was kind of getting ready in the mirror in the morning, and his little 2-year-old girl was standing on the, on the counter.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Do you
it's
know
the positive affirmations.
Yeah, so he's saying to her, and what do you say? She's like, I'm beautiful and I'm smart. So now I'm thinking, wait, because at the time, that father in that video, through all the comments, he was really being praised. Wow, you start your day every day reminding your daughter that she's beautiful enough, she's smart enough, you're going to raise a strong woman. But the advice here is that's a bad thing?
That's a little bit different, though.
Is it?
Because that's a positive affirmation. That's a child telling herself, I can be these things.
Okay.
It's not her parents giving her this outside message that you are this.
Question on the just before we go to a break about praise.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. If they win or if they do well on a test, right? You don't need to throw a party and say you're the smartest person I've ever seen in my life. But that's about achievements. What about if they do something like helping an old lady who dropped her bag and your child runs over to pick it up and give it back to her. Something like that. Something maybe sharing with another child when they weren't prompted to do so. Should those types of things not be praised?
Well, we can comment on them. So I can see that you went to help the elderly lady. That was really nice of you to do.
Okay. Saying I'm proud of you for doing that. Something like that. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I don't tell my daughter I'm proud of her very often.
Really? Why not?
I don't. Because I don't want it to have no meaning. So occasionally I'll say to her, I don't say this very often, but I'm proud of you for what you've done.
Then it has a bigger impact.
Then it's got a huge impact. But when I do give her the praise, when I am proud of her, instead I'll comment on the journey to what she's done to achieve that kind of praise.
Understood. All good lessons. We're in the final installment of Parenting 101 with Cheryl. We'll pick it up when we come back. Here's Griff. Good stuff. That was Griff with Good Stuff, and we're in the final installment of Parenting 101 today with Cheryl. We're referencing an interview clip that I saw last week with Jerry Seinfeld, very famous celebrity in the United States. Jerry Seinfeld, former television actor, still a stand-up comedian. and he was talking about the 3 poison P's of parenting. One was praise, one was problem solving, which we're just about to get to, and the third one was? Pleasure. Yeah, the pleasure one was kind of interesting. It's like giving in to all of your child's favorite things all the time. What about before we go on to problem solving, how does the pleasure thing work when your kid is a picky eater? My sister's kids, they wouldn't eat anything but chicken strips and French fries for many of their young years. She tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to feed them healthy things, and they simply refused. So she gave up. And then eventually their palates kind of developed, and now they eat everything, of course. But what do you do in that case?
Well, sometimes what we can do is we can kind of hide the other foods in the food. So my daughter didn't like vegetables, but she loved pasta. So I would hide the veg in the pasta sauce, and that's how she got it.
Yeah, okay. So you chop up the vegetables so small and hide it in the sauce so they don't even know it's there.
Exactly.
Very deceptive. I like it very much. All right, so the third poison P, according to Jerry Seinfeld, and again, this isn't from parenting experts. This isn't from, any sort of child psychology expert. This is just a comedian's opinion, and he's had kids for a long time, so worth listening to his opinion, I think. Problem solving. Don't solve your children's problems.
Yeah. Don't do it. So as parents, it's hard to see our children struggle, and we do want to step in and alleviate their pain and worries, but it's important to allow children space to try to solve their own problems. According to experts, if we solve our children's problems for them, it interferes with the child's ability to develop effective coping mechanisms that they need to deal with challenges. So it's an important life skill.
What types of problems are we talking about here?
All problems.
All of them?
Yeah. So it could be tying your shoelace to bullying to anything.
You're in a hurry. You're late for a meeting. You're rushing out the door. You're waiting for your kids. And your boy can't tie his shoes yet. And he's trying. Are you supposed to stand there and wait for him to achieve his goal?
You wait long enough.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and then you can offer to step in and help. Do you want me to help you tie your shoelace? But don't just reach in and grab the shoelaces and tie them for him.
Your child is having a problem with another student at school. They're being mildly, not majorly, they feel like they're being mildly bullied. You don't step in?
No, but
Really?
this is something that's important. So there was a recommendation from an article in USA Today, and that is to recognize kids' worries.
Okay.
And especially with young children, kids worry not only through their thoughts, but also through their bodies. So when my daughter was being bullied at school, and this was a constant problem, I didn't know because she didn't open up and she didn't tell me. But every single day when we hit the same spot on the way to school, she had a stomach ache.
Oh, really?
And her emotions were contributing to the physical feelings. So sometimes a headache or a stomach ache it's not just a physical symptom, especially if it's happening the same time daily. So as parents, it's important to be tuned into our children and recognizing when something changes.
Pay attention to things other than the words.
Exactly.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, so then we can step in and ask them, is there something bothering you?
I guess the biggest benefit, or what do you think is the biggest benefit of not solving your child's problems?
The biggest benefit is that when they get older, when they're adults, and I'm no longer there to step in and help them with their problems, they're going to be able to navigate those problems because they've had experience solving problems before.
Thanks to parents like you, Cheryl. All the experience they needed.
Well, the goal is raise the child so they can leave the nest and fly.
Yes, and don't try to raise a perfect child is what Jerry Seinfeld said, and also don't try to be a perfect parent either.
Exactly.
Because you're trying to achieve a goal that's basically unachievable. Cheryl, we're out of time, but I want to thank you for the time that you've put in on the show. I gave the compliment to Jimmy yesterday. I don't know if you know Jimmy. He's like this super pleasant, happy person all the time. Cheryl, I can give you this compliment. There's not enough people in the world like you who are just super chill and so, yeah, cool, whatever happens, happens. It's just such a pleasant personality to, number one, work with, and number two, be friends with. You and I didn't really know each other before I moved to Busan. We knew each other on Facebook, but when I moved here and I was talking with Napidi about what I wanted to do segment-wise, your name was one of the first ones that came up. And I've had an absolute blast having you on the show.
I think you're going to make me tear up and everything.
Oh, I'm like Oprah.
And there's no tissue. Yeah, another Oprah moment for us. We've already had one of those. You got two.
Exactly. You're going to be on the show at least for a little while, and it's going to be the parenting segment.
Yeah.
And it's going to be with Casey, and it's going to be on the same time at the same time next week. Yes?
Yes, it is.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.
Good luck to you. See you again soon.
Absolutely.
Stay with me for hour number 2. It is Ali Gatti. Is that to finish the first hour? Indeed. Butterflies.
BEFM 부산 영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Electric kickboards and electric bicycles are common on the streets these days. With the increased use of personal mobility devices, the number of accidents and deaths have reportedly increased significantly.
Personal mobility patrol mode.
I don't need to wear a safety helmet because I'm only riding a short distance.
Wear a safety helmet. When you drive your personal mobility devices, you have to wear a safety helmet.
Hey, I rented an electric kickboard. Let's ride it together.
Okay, you drive in the front, I'll get in the back.
Follow the number of passengers. Only one person can ride an electric kickboard and electric wheel parallel car.
Follow the rules of personal mobility devices and drive safely. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
You're listening to Steve Hatherly Reboot on BEFM 90.5.
You can't hide behind
That was Rowan Drake with Elephant in the Room, and that song explores the theme of emotional disconnect and the inability to address important issues in a relationship. The song delves into the narrator's frustration and feelings of being ignored by their partner. Yeah, that's not a good feeling to have. In the intro, the lyrics say, "You can't hide behind those pretty hazel eyes," suggesting that the partner tries to mask their true emotions and pretend that everything is okay. However, the narrator believes that their world has split in two, indicating a growing divide between them. Elephant in the Room explores the frustration and pain that comes from a relationship when one partner refuses to acknowledge the other's problems at hand. It portrays a sense of longing for affection and communication while recognizing the emotional disconnect that has grown between the two individuals involved, aka bad relationship. That's a good expression, though, elephant in the room. It's kind of a fun one, isn't it? Elephant in the room means the thing that everybody knows about, but nobody's talking about. So if there's an elephant in the room, it's impossible to ignore. Right? Everybody knows there's an elephant in the room, but if nobody's talking about it, that we use this expression with problems or issues between people or groups of people or whatever, when it's not being discussed, but everybody knows that the problem is there. That one got us into the second hour of Steve Hatherly Reboot on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for sticking with me for hour number 2 today. You're listening on BEFM 90.5 in Busan, 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas, in Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3, and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. Again, thank you so much for staying with me for this second hour. Sad to say goodbye to Cheryl today. You know, sad to say goodbye to all the guests throughout the week, and it will be tomorrow when I say goodbye to Jeff as well. You know, my wife and I were talking about it, and she said, "Oh, are you going to cry? You know, are you going to be emotional?" Because my wife was with me when I finished my last show, and the last show that I did was 13 and a half years long, right? So that was tough. And I said it's not going to be, you know, that level of emotional, but it's still going to be emotional because it's a project, you know. It's a project that I started with Not PD, and we worked together with a lot of different people. And when you work together with a lot of different people on a project, and you finally finish that project, then inevitably there's an element of sadness to that, I think, right? We can all agree on that. So a little bit, it's been, you know, a little bit more as the week's gone on, and probably tomorrow will be the peak of that. Also tomorrow, I'll be letting you know where we are going, what we are doing, my wife and I, with the next step for us. And I'm looking forward to telling you about that as well. Anyway, again, thank you for sticking with me for hour number 2 of the show today. And make sure you listen to the show tomorrow, too. Don't miss that one. All right, coming up in the second hour today, talking about names a little bit, as a matter of fact. Have you ever been to the Philippines? Do you know anyone from the Philippines? It's not everyone's name in the Philippines that's kind of quirky or a little bit different, but I have met people who have some really fun names from the Philippines, and that's what we're going to do for our fun fact today. The title of the article is "Why Filipino Names Are Quirky, Expressive, and Rich with Culture and History." It's kind of a fun little story to learn about. I, for one, did not know about it before at all. So we'll do that for our fun fact of the day. Hour number 2, we'll also have Hatherly's Hather List. And what did Silly say about naming the segment? You wanted a star on the BEFM Walk of Fame? Oh, yes. Your poster is already hanging on the wall outside in the main part of the station, Silly. It's just a big sign that says "Silly" on it. We don't have any pictures, so that's all we could do. So there you go. Hatherly's Hather List today. How famous rock stars got their nicknames. I'll give you just one example from the list that we're going to talk about today. Bruce Springsteen, you know Bruce Springsteen's nickname? the boss. He's called the boss. And everybody in the United States is kind of aware of that nickname. So that's what we're talking about. Like, where did these rock stars get their nicknames from? That'll be Hatherly's Hather list today. Maybe a shorter list than we typically do, but still interesting, I think, nonetheless. After that, perfect playlist where we pick the best songs for every situation. And I will check your messages throughout the second hour of the program as well. All right. So the question today, this is what I want to know. Have you ever had a nickname? What is it? 어떤 별명이 있었나요? Let's see some of the answers that have come in. 6978 says, my name is Jongduk, and female friends mostly used to call me Jongdugi. Jongdugi. It is used more when eating chewy and delicious snacks. I see. I got it. Thanks for the message. 1191 says, my nickname was Yepa, and that's what people called me at my previous company because they like pretty things. I'm using Yepa as a nickname for social media. Oh, that's a good nickname to have. People call me pretty. Oh, that's the best. That's like the best nickname you could possibly have. Well done. Congratulations on that one, 1191. And thanks for the message as well. Jongdugi, I've got some more information on this. So this was a type going back to the message from 6978. So Jongdugi is a type of Korean snack that was popular around the 1960s to 1970s. It's a fried food made from a variety of ingredients, although namely wheat flour and cornstarch. And what is shared amongst the variety of the flavors is the chewy texture of the food, and the food is even named after its chewiness as well. And I'm looking at the photo. Thank you very much, Napidi, for putting the photo there for me. Yeah, you see these for sale in the mart, right? They still sell these little snacks. They don't taste very good to me. I don't know how popular they are, but they used to be popular in the 60s and 70s. So this is a really old school snack as well. Yeah, I've tried those. I think I've tried the different ones, and they are super chewy, aren't they? Oh, by the way, that nickname wasn't Yepo. It was Yepi. But Yepi means Yepo, doesn't it? So same difference, I guess. Joy PMJ sent in a message with a song request. We'll see if we can play that later on in the show today, maybe as the last song. I'm not really sure. I'll pass that message on to Napidi. Joy, thanks for the request, though. Aina's listening today. Good afternoon, Aina. Aina says, my real name is Aina, and I have a lot of wonderful meanings behind it, like mirror or clean as a mirror, beautiful and symbol of light. But everyone calls me Anya or Anna. And the saddest thing is that I really like my real name and its meaning. I've had it since my childhood, I got used to hearing all of those nicknames. Oh, so you like the real name, but everybody calls you something different, huh? Well, I mean, can you correct them? I think that's okay to correct them. You know, so if people call me Steven sometimes, I immediately say, you can just call me Steve. Don't worry. You can feel free. Just call me Steve. I say it right away because sometimes people do call me Steven when they first see me, if they see it written down first, right? Thanks for your message, Aina, not Anna. Hannah texted in and said, my nicknames, when I was in secondary school, the principal of the school gave me the nickname Aunt Hannah because I was helping out my friends here and there. And then you got a nickname from Silly as well called Genius. Aunt Hannah, Auntie. When you were in secondary school, did you like that one? I guess I can see you not liking that, but I can see you liking it as well because you were given that nickname for a good reason. I gave myself a nickname not by mistake. Many, many years ago. I think it was around 2006, 2007. I was working at the Kyoyuk radio station, and I was working with my friend Sid Kim on a show called Power English, and we were talking about nicknames on the show one day. And I said, maybe my nickname should be DJ Dakdari because I have skinny legs like a chicken. And I thought that would be the end of it. Yeah? No, that was not the end. It was the beginning because all of the listeners of that station suddenly decided that they were going to call me DJ Dakdari after that, not Steve. So, yeah, that was my mistake. I didn't like that name. I was just trying to make a joke, but that one stuck with me for a good while. Happily, no longer, though. It's a fun question, isn't it, to talk about nicknames. What was yours? What is yours? You can tell me what it is now, or maybe one that you had in the past. Have you ever had a nickname? 어떤 별명이 있었나요? Text me, # 9050. That will cost you 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free and send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us a comment after logging in. All right, let's get to our expression today from King the Land. Again, I finished the show at the end of last week, but I didn't want to start a new show, so I just went through the last episode and picked out 5 more expressions to learn. This one is... You have to be careful with this one because you're only going to use it with people that are really, really close to you, I would say. You can use this seriously or you can use this playfully. I think it's safer to use this playfully. So let's learn what it is. In this particular scene, the husband who has been stuck at home cleaning, his wife tells him, I'm leaving now. I'm going to go out and do something fun. So you stay here. You do all the cooking. You do all the cleaning. You do all the housework. You do it all. It's all you. I'm going out to have fun. And he says this.
너 정신이 있어?
뭐, 야, 너. 정신이 있어? Now, this is pretty simple in English or in Korean, and I think we've heard this a lot, right? 정신이 있다, 정신이 없다. 정신이 없어, 정신 없어 means, well, let's come back to that one in just a second, okay? 정신 없어. Just in case you don't know what that means, because that is a super useful expression in everyday Korean, I think, when you're really tired and you're feeling like you're not focused on things. But let's go to the translation first. Okay, so mo means what? Yeah, it means like, hey. No means you. 정신이 있어. 정신, how does that translate to English exactly? You want to text me and let me know? I think 정신 translates to awareness, being aware of something. So if you say 정신 있다, it means like you're aware, you're focused, you know what's going on. But 정신 없다 means you're not aware, you're not focused, you don't know what's going on. But that's not what the translation said. Now, remember the context of this conversation. She said to him, to her husband, you do all the work. You wash the dishes, you do the laundry, you do the cooking, you do the cleaning. I'm going out to have fun. And he said, 너 정신이 있어? And the translation says, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind is a similar expression to are you crazy or are you nuts? Are you crazy? I think we've all heard it 1,000 times here in Korea, right? It's probably in every English textbook, maybe. I'm not sure. But I don't think, feel free to disagree, I don't think people use this expression that much. Are you crazy? I don't think it's commonly used by native English speakers, not often. But are you out of your mind is a really good expression to learn. And again, you can use it playfully or you can use it seriously. If you're in an argument or a fight with somebody, you can use this. Hey, what's wrong with you? Are you out of your mind? Like that. But it's better to use it playfully, I think. Are you out of your mind? We can use it when somebody has a bad idea. That's That's when you can use this expression. If your coworker says, hey, you know, I'm really unhappy with the boss. I'm going to go tell the boss exactly what I think. I'm going to go tell the boss that I'm not happy with their attitude and their behavior, and they can't treat me like this. Then you can say to your coworker, do you want to get fired? Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Means that's a terrible idea. If I say to Napidi, hey, Napidi, I learned a new Korean swear word today. I think I'll practice it on the radio. Napidi would say, Steve, are you out of your mind? That is a terrible idea. Anytime someone has a terrible idea, you can say, are you out of your mind? And if you want to learn the native English speaker way to say it, are you out of your sounds like, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? That's how you say it when you speed up your speaking speed. And in Korean, he said, and let's hear it one more time, 뭐, 야, 너 정신이 있어?
너 정신이 있어?
You can hear the desperation in his voice, can't you? There you go. Those are your expressions for today. Hopefully that helps out your English or your Korean, depending on which one you are learning. If not both, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we take a little trip to the Philippines together, and we learn about how some children get their names. This song, Joy, good news. I thought we might play it at the end of the show, but NotPD's loaded it up for you right now. So Joy PMJ, your song request, Barbara Streisand, Memory. That was Joy's song request, Barbara Streisand with Memory. And now it's time for our fun fact of the day. I think this is really interesting. I came across this article on the CBC website in the last few days. CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And this article was written by a Filipino Canadian, and it's about names and why Filipino names are sometimes quirky and expressive and rich with culture and history. So again, this is not my own knowledge. I took this from the writing of a Filipino Canadian who works for the CBC in Canada, and I'll share with you what he shared with the internet. He said, for many Filipinos, it can be a complicated question to answer about their name, and this speaks to centuries of culture and history. He said, take my own name, for example. His CBC byline name, meaning his reporter name, is Gian Paulo Mendoza, but most people know him as GP. Gian Paulo. He said, that's pretty easy to see how I got that. But for many Filipinos, their names are often made up of other names, or they have nicknames that barely have any semblance to their legal name. And then there are last names, many of which speak to the history of Spanish colonization of the Philippines. So here are a couple of common themes on how names come to be. One is brand new names. He said one of the most popular naming practices in the Philippines is combining the first few letters of each individual parent's name to form a completely new name. I love this. I think it's awesome. My dad's name is Jose, and my mom's name is Maria. That's a quote from Jomar or Yomar Santos, a Filipino Canadian living in Vancouver. That's how my name came to be, Yomar or Jomar. Jose, Jose, and Maria, Maria. So Jomar, Yomar or Jomar. Not sure how he pronounces that. Vancouverite Janali Maranson's first name is a combination of three different relatives' names. She said, so my mom's name is Jesusa, so I got the J-E from her. My dad's name is Ronaldo. I got the N-A from him. And then my uncle on my dad's side, his name is Raleigh, and I got the L-L-Y from him. So put it all together, and her name is Janali. How awesome is that? Leonora Angeles is a University of British Columbia professor and president of the National Filipino Canadian Culture Center. And Leonora says the concept of combining syllables to form new names honors the family lineage. Marital union is taken so seriously in the Philippines to the point that they'd like to honor the marital union by naming the children or one of the children after the names of the couple who got married. It makes total sense, and I think it's awesome. And I was thinking about it. If my parents were Filipino, my dad's name is Mike, so that would be M-I. My mom's name is Marge, so that's M-A, so M-I-M-A. My name would be Mima. I love that. There's my nickname. You can call me Mima from now on, for today and tomorrow. Nicknames. The author of this story goes on to talk about this as well. He said the use of nicknames is another deeply ingrained part of Filipino culture. For many Filipinos, their legal first name isn't always the one they use in their day-to-day lives. Many people go by nicknames like Baby, commonly given to the youngest child in the family, or June, which is a shortened form of Junior, or Boy, commonly given to the youngest male in the family. Angeles said, I have 3 cousins with the name Baby and 3 cousins named Boy. So it's very, very common by the sounds of things. There was some pressure. He talked about in the article, too, about how to go about using names when they're used in Canada. Remember, he works for the CBC. He said that some Filipinos with unique names have wrestled with how and when to use them in Western contexts. Girly Joy Abasta says that she struggled with using her first name when she first moved to Canada in 2014. She would regularly go by her middle name in social and professional situations. She said, when I was being introduced to to Canadians who were not Filipino, they were usually really amused by the name Girly just because I think it was the first time they had ever met someone that was called by that name. But she believes her personality is written directly into her name that her parents gave her. And since moving back to the Philippines for work, she says she's grown to embrace her first name once again. See, this is why knowledge of different cultures from around the world is so necessary for us to understand each other. Yep, I get it. If you're in Canada and you hear that first name Girly, well, then you might be a little bit confused by that because you've never heard it before. But when you understand that in the Philippines they use certain practices to come up with names for their children, then it makes all the sense in the world, doesn't it? At least that's Mima's 2 cents on that topic. That is today's fun fact of the day. We'll come back with Hatherly's Hather List. This is Gabby Barrett and Charlie Puth. I hope. That was Gabby Barrett and Charlie Puth with I Hope. And now it's time for Hatherly's Hather List. And today we're going to stick with the theme of names and nicknames and things like that. And we're going to go with how famous rock stars actually got their nicknames. Shortened list today, but I thought this was kind of interesting. So we'll start with Eric Clapton. Do you know Eric Clapton's nickname? It's Slowhand. Eric Clapton is the only rock star to have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 3 times. Amazing, right? He achieved this once as a solo artist and twice as a member of the bands Cream and the Yardbirds. With his undeniable guitar skills, Eric Clapton is often referred to as one of the most influential guitarists that the world has likely ever seen, with many budding artists hoping to achieve the level of success that he has. Well, during his music career, Clapton has had many nicknames, such as God and the Greatest, but the one that stuck is Slowhand. A few theories exist surrounding how this British rocker received the nickname. According to Eric Clapton's former bandmate, Chris Dreja, Slowhand came about due to the way that Clapton would replace a guitar string very slowly and very methodically while he was on stage in front of an audience if one guitar string happened to break during a show. He said that the British audiences would watch Eric Clapton replace the string and then give him what was known as this, the slow hand clap, because Eric Clapton would be so slow in replacing the guitar string. So the audience started clapping at the same speed that he was replacing the guitar string, I guess, and that's how he got the nickname Slowhand. Even Eric Clapton said that this theory is indeed true, but there was more to it apparently that came out in a biography, but we won't get into that today. How about this one? Ooh, if I say his real name, do you even know who he is? Saul Hudson. Who is Saul Hudson? Saul Hudson is Slash from Guns N' Roses. The rock genre has many famous guitarists remembered for their talent, and Saul Hudson is undoubtedly among them. Hudson has been named to best solo guitarist lists throughout his career and has even made numerous renowned lists for being one of the greatest guitarists in the world. However, many might not know how Hudson was given his nickname Slash. Many people theorize that Hudson received the nickname for always being in motion, but there's more to the story. You know who I'm talking about, right? Saul Hudson, Slash. Actually, I'm going to save this one until the end because this one's one of my favorites. Another one I want to go with is The Boss, and this is the one that I mentioned before. Bruce Springsteen. Everybody knows he's the boss. Did you know that, not PD, that he's called the boss? You knew that. Okay, so it's kind of common knowledge, right? Well, it's a career spanning more than 5 decades where Bruce Springsteen is an American singer and songwriter who has continued to entertain the world since his debut. Springsteen's famed album Born in the USA won critical acclaim, with millions of people worldwide purchasing the album when it first was released. It is the setup, the trajectory of Springsteen's fame in the 1980s that made him arguably one of the most recognized rock stars to this day. During his early career, Bruce Springsteen received the nickname The Boss, and it stuck with him. He's known to dislike this alias. He doesn't like this nickname, by the way, but with so many fans undertaking to call him The Boss, there wasn't a lot that he could do to change it. According to a more outlandish fan theory, Bruce Springsteen received his nickname because of his aggressive Monopoly skills that left him usually the boss of the game. This is very not rock and roll. In fact, it has nothing to do with rock and roll. It has to do with a board game. He supposedly played Monopoly with fellow band members and would take charge of the game. Another popular theory is that Springsteen received his nickname because of his authoritative position within the music industry and because he would conduct his career based on his own rules, his own ideas, and his own dreams. Well, that makes a lot more sense than simply playing Monopoly with his bandmates, right? The real story isn't nearly as glamorous. Springsteen received the nickname because of his position as leader on the E Street Band. After shows, he was in charge of divvying up earnings and paying each band member their share. And in return, many people started calling him the boss as a nickname. Yeah, I mean, that's not as exciting, is it? But it makes the most sense. How about this? We'll finish with this one, and then I'll come back to Slash a little bit later. David Howell. Do you know who David Howell is? David, I wouldn't know, so don't feel bad if you don't know. David Howell is the Edge, or Edge from U2, David Howell Evans. He's best known as the lead guitarist and keyboardist and backing vocalist of the rock band U2. And early in the band's career, Evans was given the nickname The Edge by members of the Lipton Village Surrealist street gang to which Bono belonged. The nickname is commonly believed to be derived from the angular shape of his head. His head is the shape of a triangle, so they called him the Edge. However, that is disputed. There are other theories, but if you ask me, that one's my favorite. Hey, you're a really incredible guitarist, but your head is kind of shaped like a triangle, so we're just going to call you the Edge. I'll share Slash's story at the end of a show. It's kind of a fun one. For now, we need to take a break because we got to come back with today's, and this will be the second last day to do this one, perfect playlist is on the way. That is today's Hatherly's Hather List. We conclude yet another segment there. Let's go with Eric Clapton before we get to perfect playlist today. Change the world. That was Eric Clapton, such a great tune, Change the World. And now it's time for Perfect Playlist. Our theme all week long, songs about summer and summertime. And today we have time for 2 songs. Good news for you. Frank Sinatra is going to be first, Summer Wind. Summer Wind, it's a classic from Frank Sinatra that perfectly captures the essence of summer with its lush, romantic melody and evocative lyrics. The song tells the story of a summer love that fades away with the changing of the seasons, with Sinatra's smooth, velvety voice perfectly conveying the bittersweet emotion of the lyrics as well. The song's sweeping orchestration and elegant melody make it a timeless classic that has been covered by many artists over the years. After that, Nancy Sinatra, Summer Wine. Back-to-back Sinatra tunes today. The song features Lee Hazelwood's deep, velvety voice and Sinatra's seductive, breathy vocals, weaving a tale of a man and a woman enjoying summer romance. The twangy guitar riffs and haunting melody add to the song's romantic and nostalgic feel, making it a popular choice for summer playlist. 2 songs about summer and summertime today, back-to-back Sinatra. First, Frank, Summer Wind, then Nancy, Summer Wine. I was asking you about your nicknames today, and 4704 Jason texted and said, my hockey nickname is Tambo. I was given to that by another player, and all the guys who play know me as that name. Very few call me by my real name, Jason, and the meaning is Tambo sounds like Rambo, and that is my style of play. Thanks for the message, Jason. Yeah, going back to Slash's nickname, I thought this is such a cute story, and I thought since we had our parenting segment today with Cheryl that I'd save it until the end. Slash from Guns N' Roses, I mean, he just looks so menacing, doesn't he? He looks like he's trouble, and he's got that big, long, curly black hair, and you might think that the nickname Slash comes from the way that he plays guitar or his wild party days, but no, not at all. When Slash was young, his parents, they ended up separating, apparently. And after that, Slash was a little bit of should I say, Saul was a little bit of a problem child. But he chose to live with his mother after their separation and was often sent to live with his maternal grandmother whenever his mom had to travel for her work. His mom worked in fashion and costumes as well. So that means that she was always around film and music stars. And sometimes Saul would go to work with his mom. He was a little boy at the time, and he was actually given the nickname Slash by actor Seymour Castle because he was always in a hurry. He was always zipping around from one place to another when he was just a baby. Isn't that cute? And Slash kept his nickname all the way through to when he was a member of Guns N' Roses. That's pretty cool. Final message from Chris, who's listening this afternoon. He says, "Hi, Mima." Your show is sometimes fascinating. I hope it continues. Thank you, Chris, for that. You called me Mima, but Aina disagrees, says, no, I think Steve is a lot better than Mima, so let's just stick with that, shall we? I don't know. I mean, if we flip it around, me is the front and then Ma is the back, but we can flip it around, Marge and Mike, and then you'd call me Mommy, but that would be even weirder. So I think you're right. I think we'll just stick with Steve, shall we? Anyway, I'm out of time. That'll do it for Steve Hatherly Reboot for this afternoon. Thank you very much for hanging out with me over the last couple of hours. Thank you to Cheryl. Thank you so much to Cheryl for all the time she put in on the show. We had the final installment of Parenting 101 today. Thank you to you, as always, for your listenership and your participation. I have been your host, Steve Hatherly. And today we wrap it up with Jimmy Cliff, and the track is called Reggae Night. Enjoy that. Have a great day today, and please do join me again tomorrow for the final edition of Steve Hatherly Reboot.